Right then, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to L5StarFC. It is a breaking news video in which we look at what we have just seen in terms of Liverpool Football Club, our club. Right, so the breaking news is that Arsenal versus Liverpool has now been postponed. The Carabao Cup match, which was due to take place tomorrow, has now subsequently been called off due to a combination of injuries plus COVID and absentees. And we'll be running you through all the breaking news across the channel. But before we get into this video, obviously we hope and wish every Liverpool player, official, or any backroom staff who has contracted the virus or been affected by the virus in any way, shape or form gets better soon. Our thoughts are with those who have been affected first and foremost. Right, so please feel free, if you haven't already, to follow and subscribe to our YouTube channel, L5StarFC, where we'll be doing previews, match reactions and other breaking news stories, including the transfer news. Obviously, it's the transfer window as well. So we'll be covering you with all you need to know in terms of Liverpool Football Club. So we might as well begin, because that is the topic that you've all clicked onto this video for. Right then, so Arsenal against Liverpool has been postponed, and I'll bring this into play so you can see it's just been released on Sky Sports as well. So we're just going to go through the article here to obviously give you the recent information. So Liverpool have closed their first team training centre amid rising coronavirus cases. Now the first leg new date has been rearranged for Thursday, January the 13th. Now that will be the Anfield game. So the second leg, which was the initial second leg game in which Liverpool would host Arsenal at Anfield, is now the first leg. So this has been cancelled. This is the first leg. And the following week, so the following Thursday, so Thursday the 20th, will be the Arsenal-Liverpool. So now Arsenal-Liverpool will be the second leg instead of the first. So yeah, we're just going to go through it. Initial request was submitted on Tuesday afternoon. So the Liverpool fan base and anyone associated with football was made alert by initial request, which was submitted on Tuesday afternoon after the latest round of testing found more cases within the first team bubble. Days after manager Jurgen Klopp and three players, Alisson Becker, Roberto Firmino and Joel Matip, were forced to miss Sunday's 2-2 draw at Chelsea after testing positive for coronavirus. Now, an EFL statement on Wednesday confirmed Arsenal will now play Liverpool in a fortnight, with the game now being treated as the second leg semi-final. Now, the EFL has been in regular dialogue with the club over the past 48 hours in an attempt to understand whether the tie could proceed, but significant developments over this period have resulted in the club reporting an ever-increasing number of COVID cases, a statement read. Now, obviously, there's different ways you can look at this. Obviously, there's a lot of speculation about Liverpool played a match against Aston Villa where Aston Villa were forced to play their kids. Why can't Liverpool play? Another instance was looked at in the case that Liverpool went to a cup competition in Qatar, as known as the Club World Cup, while one of these Carabao Cup matches were going on. And obviously this has sent the world of football into a bit of a diverse spectacle on this situation. Now, if you want about my personal point of view, I think, obviously, I'm going to sit here with my Liverpool hat on, because I can't help but do that, because everything I see relating to my club, I see it through a Liverpool perspective. And that, I think that's pretty normal. I think we all have our different agendas that Arsenal fans will look towards, maybe the angry side. Why was one rule applied for Liverpool? But I think to protect the integrity of the competition, I think the EFL should be more stringent into not allowing teams to forfeit matches, to protect the integrity first and foremost, and to also protect I know these bosses of the EFL will focus more on revenue and the incomes that they would have lost had they forfeited the match. But I think this is the better for everybody. Now, obviously, it was a situation in which a lot of Arsenal fans, I know you would have seen a lot of AFTV members, as Ty, DT, I think, put out on Twitter, calling for the game to be, played, with Liverpool's kids being played. And he was calling for that to happen. But in my opinion, I feel like to protect the value of this domestic cup competition, and as much as Liverpool fans, we haven't really appreciated this competition much over the short term, purely based on the fact Jurgen Klopp, we know this is not his competition that he likes to go full strength in. But obviously, it's a cup competition. We want to win the cup competition. As football fans, we want to see our club do far. So we're going to see this from a different point of view to a lot of different people, and that's totally fine. But obviously, that's the way I see it. I think this game should be played. Obviously, not just for the fact it'll be a great football match. I just think to have two full-strength teams going hammer and tong against each other will be nothing but the best thing for the two teams in particular. So the new dates have been confirmed, as I just mentioned by there. Obviously, the first leg, just if you're only popping in now, the first leg will be next week, in which Liverpool will play Arsenal at Anfield. So that will be the second leg, the first leg of the semi-final. Then on the Thursday, the 20th, so 7 days afterwards, we see Arsenal host Liverpool at the Emirates, which is the rescheduled fixture. And to be honest, how this will affect preparation, I think it's a good call personally, because we have a lot of midweek fixtures now. If I bring in another screen so we can look at a bit of the journalist viewpoint, because I think that is a key thing to have a look at, because obviously that is the topic. That is where the opinions are flying in from left, right and centre, from diverse football fan perspectives. So we'll just look at James Pearce, because this is the rules that UEFA, the EFL want to implement beforehand in terms of of this competition and to contain the integrity. So Liverpool aren't asking for special treatment, and nor they shouldn't just forfeit. Competition rules clearly state that games can be rearranged due to COVID if teams don't have enough players available. So this is the rule. So if a club is unable to fulfill its obligation to complete a match due to either the club's players are returning their positive lateral flow or PCR test results, with the action plan set out to return to play, resulting in the club not having sufficient players to fulfill the fixture, or the requirements of UK government or any public authority, blah, 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 then the competition match should be played at a neutral venue, which will not be later than the date of the first competition match. So in that tweet right there, you've just seen that, they couldn't postpone the match. They couldn't cancel the match. They couldn't forfeit the match based on that was the rules, that was set in stone. So yeah, it's. I'll just go through some of the tweets that are circulating. As you can see, a lot of people are not happy by the decision, especially Arsenal fans. And I think it's very insensitive. I think a lot of them moaning on social media. I'm not going to lie to you. I think it's a really weird world that we live in, because there's players that are not just players, people in general that are affected by this virus on a day-to-day basis. And a lot of Arsenal fans and football fans in general are completely insensitive to the fact the game has been postponed by quickly saying something like, oh, well, this game should be postponed, or Salah and Mane, that was the reason. As soon as they lose Salah and Mane, they don't want to play. This game should be played by the kids. Liverpool have enough players, all that. I find that very cold, because I think a lot of people should have compassion for each other, because this is a pandemic in which we've endured very difficult times, not just as football fans, but as people in general. And I just feel like, obviously, I just think due to the fact that these players are maybe suffering with it. Obviously, we've seen Virgil van Dijk, Fabinho and Curtis Jones were the three that tested positive initially. Thiago Alcantara was shortly afterwards. And then you have another batch of players has been reported in Firmino, Matip and Alisson. Klopp come down with it on January the 1st. Pep Lijnders has today tested positive. And a bunch of other escalating cases have been reported within the Liverpool camp. So, look, it's always going to put pressure, especially considering the fact we are without. We have seven injuries, I believe. I'll just go through the injuries just so we can have a look at who isn't and who is available. 1 second. But I believe that obviously we know that Firmino, Alisson, Matip are out with COVID. We know Klopp and Pep Lijnders, the manager and the assistant, are out. We also know that Harvey Elliott, Divock Origi, Takumi Minamino, are amongst all that are injured. We also know Thiago Alcantara has a hip problem. And we also know that obviously Sadio Mane, Mo Salah and Naby Keita are off to AFCON. In total, there was a reported 13 players that are, have been named. But however, they have not named specific few players. As if you remember, when Klopp held his press conference last week, he did not name the players that had returned positive lateral flow tests or suspected positive COVID tests due to the privacy of the players. And that would have been notified when the teams come out. So look, we don't know the severity of it, but it must be quite bad, because we found out since then that not only was the club's training session postponed yesterday, it was cancelled. They have closed the training ground as well. So it looks a bit bleak, and that we know that the training ground of Liverpool, the AXA training facility, has been closed for a period of 48 hours at the least. So obviously that is in shutdown. We have no players that are in the training complex in there. Obviously, there's two parts to the training ground, so it'd be interesting to see whether two parts have been shut. I suppose they have, due to the fact they probably would have been kids available, the youth players available in the second block. But obviously, it's a shame, because I was really looking forward to this match. But at the end of the day, the safety and the priorities of the public's health are more important. And obviously, we wish every player and every backroom staff that has contracted the virus, unfortunately, a speedy recovery. But although this plunges this game into postponement, we also know that the FA Cup match for Shrewsbury on the weekend is in doubt also. Now, it's not believed how they will really maneuver these situations to really benefit the footballing calendar. But since the footballing calendar has been so over commercialized of recent, this makes it very difficult for football matches to take place, because it's when do you fit in, when do you obviously take into account that these players will have a winter break, when do you take into account these players need to have 72 hours minimum recovery. All these factors you have to weigh in. Then you have to weigh in the 5 international breaks that will come every season. It's a lot of football for these lads, and it's just highlighted, this COVID crisis in football has just highlighted the significant deficiencies within the footballing pyramid and the over-commercializing of the game, because we're seeing more games being put into the footballing calendar, like the Champions League. I know this is not English football, this is not part of the English footballing pyramid, but the Champions League want to introduce a different format in 2 years' time, which will see nearly double the amount of matches that would have been played in a normal Champions League season. So the fact of the matter is, I just think it's absolutely ludicrous. Obviously, there was an idea of this Carabao Cup match that maybe they would say, Chelsea, Tottenham, you play tonight, that's the one leg, and Liverpool, Arsenal play the second leg. But I think that was personally a very harsh decision if that was put into fruition, based on the fact Chelsea and Tottenham would have felt hard done by. Probably because that their preparations going into this game would have been halted. Although there's no away goals, it's still going to be difficult, because Tottenham would have had a disadvantage because they wouldn't have had the ability to play at home, whereas both Liverpool and Chelsea would have. So it's that factor you've got to weigh into account as well. So I'm happy that a solution's been obviously arranged, and hopefully we can see these fixtures being played eventually. But not sure why people are telling you there's no dates to rearrange, however, because there's no FA Cup replays this season. Obviously, no third and fourth replays have been scrapped. So the current 3 dates for the footballing calendar for Liverpool Football Club are midweek 19th of January, midweek 26th of Jan, weekend 30th of January, midweek 3rd of Feb, and midweek 24th of Feb. So there's plenty of dates for Liverpool to play the games there. So there wasn't a question of will they play it. It was a case of when they will play it. And obviously that's been sorted out. And those dates were only the dates which are between now and the final, which will obviously be at the end of February, which we will know 7 weeks till the final. So obviously, I'm confident that Liverpool can still get past this. Obviously, I would have preferred to have Liverpool at home for the second leg. but obviously, you have to adapt to these situations, and Liverpool will have to adapt, certainly, with the second leg match being played at the Emirates instead. But I'm glad that we'll finally have Jurgen Klopp scheduled to be on the touchline for that match against Arsenal at home now, due to the fact, obviously, the quarantining period is to shrink to 7 days, depending on the person with the virus returns a negative lateral flow test on 2 consecutive days, in day 6 and day 7. So if the players that have been affected return, go by that, then hopefully we can see a solution in which it gives the players enough time to train in preparation for this game. But that is your boy Klopp Talk TV. Obviously, was planning a watch long, which is not good now because I won't be able to do it. But obviously, the health is more important. So that is your breaking news. Arsenal, Liverpool, once again postponed. If you're only now tuning in, that game will be played next week, with the second leg match going to be played shortly after. Cheers. Anyway, right, I will see you all soon. Have a boss day. Have a brilliant day. See you all soon. Take care. Make sure you smash a like on this video if you have done. If you're new to the channel, make sure you smash that like and you subscribe to the channel. And I hope you all have a brilliant day. Hitting a like on the video will really help our platform. You'll never walk alone. You may not believe that, but it's actually true. It does. So, guys, help us out. Big up to yourselves. I hope you all have a smashing day. I hope this video helped, and I hope it gives you the insight and the information ahead of Liverpool's next match, a scheduled match, which is Shrewsbury. But more importantly, the Arsenal match, which is in the topic of the news. Hopefully that is rearranged and going to be played on the dates. But anyway, take care all. I will see you all soon. Peace.